Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today, wouldn't you know, we're making candles, but something a little bit exciting has just arrived. Well, all of the Christmas candle jars, the ones for the Advents, which are absolutely incredible, but also I ordered some enormous candle jars because at the weekend I was watching Instagram Reels and I saw someone light the biggest candle I've ever seen from a very expensive, well-known brand, and I was like, I'm going to have to see how much that is. £500. And I instantly thought, there's a gap here. There's a gap in the market for affordable coffee table candles. And so I ordered a large jar and we're going to test it out. I realised I was just about to pour something into this. Well, first of all, I've lost my oil. Where's the oil I was going to use? I found it. It was in a different bottle than I thought it was going to be in. I was going to say, I'm making witching hour because this is definitely my favourite of the season, and I'm going to have plenty left over for me to just make personal candles for myself. I was going to say I'm going to pour this out, and then I realised I haven't done the calculations for this at all. I think this is 1 litre. So if it's 1 litre, I'm going to go off that and say that means that I need 100 grams of fragrance for this and 900 grams of wax. This is a lot. This is a fairly pricey test. So hopefully it works. But first of all, we need 100 grams of, this is not going to be large enough for this. I know I mentioned this in a previous video, but different oils have different weights. And I think this is a particularly heavy oil. Sometimes I can get like 90 grams in that little one. Another 40 in here. And sometimes not, because it's a heavy oil. And I wish I understood. But you know your weaknesses, and maths and physics and such. Not a strength of mine. And then my wax has been steadily melting away. Now we need 900 grams, which is just an incredible amount of wax. And because we're pouring, so I'm going to see. I think this is a 2 litre jug, but we'll see. And I want to keep an eye on the temperature here, because I think it's like nearly 100, which is not ideal. But 900, there or thereabouts. Okay, we're just around 80 now, so I'll pour in my fragrance. And again, this is really a burn test more than anything. So I'm not too worried about the fragrance combining, because it is just a candle for me. I just want to see how this burns, whether or not the wick works, because this is quite a serious surface area. So what I'm using is, I told you the other day, I had been doing some tests and decided to wick down all of the Christmas candles. So I am now using CL8 from Candle Shack rather than CL10 I'm using 2 of those in the large Christmas jars. I realised I could wick down because I felt like it was burning down too quickly. I felt like the melt pool was a little bit too deep. And when I used the CL8 as a test, it was perfect. So now I'm using 4 CL8s. It might be that I can wick down even more than this. Time will tell. But I'm just kind of passing along that information as I do my test. So this is 4 CL8s, just randomly put in here, because I've not made myself a template or anything. Because again, we're just testing for now. Ooh, I feel like it could do more than 1,000 grams. I'm just going to top it up, because obviously it's a litre, but again, wax and oil measure differently than water, so that's going to take some testing as well. Let's see how many grams of wax and oil it actually takes. This is going to be another thing. I think I need to get some like wooden skewers. For now, I'm just going to let it kind of be, and then when it sets a little bit, I'll pull them and I'll heat on the top, because again, they don't need to be perfect. It's just for a test, but I definitely need to get something that I can lay all the way across and make kind of a grid to hold up the wicks. But this in the end, I think took somewhere in the region of 1,500 grams of wax and oil, like 1,500 gram volume, which is enormous. I also think the frosted glass is so pretty, especially for Christmas. I'm going to be interested to see how the wet spots look. You know, like if you've ever seen, try and find an example for you. Here we go. This is a good example, because depending on the temperatures, this happens a lot. So you see here, well, you can see it this because it's real thick glass, so it's more noticeable. that is where like the wax has pulled away from the side. So there's nothing wrong with it at all, but it doesn't look great. And there's not a tremendous amount you can do to avoid it, because even if it's absolutely perfect when you box it up, if it then gets to the person and it's gone through multiple different temperatures, it could happen by the time it gets there. So this looked fine when I first poured it, and then it's been sitting on this shelf where it's cold, and obviously it's in the winter, and it's got that kind of wet spot. And I wonder whether or not, I mean, obviously when you get something that's got a bit of a pattern to it, I don't know if that's actually got any wet spots, but if you've got a bit of a pattern to it, it's going to be less obvious. And I'm hopeful that this is going to disguise it as well, because I have no idea how I'm going to get something this size to cool evenly. I think realistically, it's going to need to be a multiple pour situation, and then I'll need to test whether or not you can really see the demarcation between each layer of pouring. It's going to be an interesting test. Also, I spilled, lazy garlic, like a jar of minced garlic in my kitchen, and now the whole house smells like garlic, which usually it smells like candles. And even pouring that candle has not put a dent in the fact that the kitchen just smells like garlic. It's been more than an hour and the top is still pretty liquid. That's incredible. This is going to be really fun, even if it's just a test. Completely unrelated to the video topic, but I also made some more wedding favours this week. I am obsessed with these. They're such a cute little favour and they're pretty inexpensive to make. You can sell them for not too much. And if you, like with this is for a friend at work, so I didn't put our logo on them anywhere. But if you were going to do these as like an offering for people, as long as you get your logo somewhere on this, you've got to kind of consider it as advertising. So if you make something that is a really, really great product and you're able to get it in the hands of like 40, 50, 60 people, and maybe you don't make a huge profit on them, I feel like that's okay. So it's something to consider if you are looking at an additional product. The candle has set enough for me to pull the wicks into somewhat of the right position, and then I'm just gonna reheat the top. Also, this happens when you don't mix the oil enough. So that's like little spots of oil, and that is because I was just too impatient and I wanted to make it. Here it is in all its glory. This is the candle. Miles, do you want to come and light it? Milo wanted to light the first inaugural, also can for scale. It's huge. It does set on fire.
No, I mean I.
Oh, you thought you were going to set on fire?
Almost got it.
It's all right, just slowly. Don't panic. I think it's safe to say this is underwicked. Do you know, it might even do 6. Because this has been on for a long time, so it's not going to get anywhere near. I quite like the pattern it's made, but it's not going to get anywhere near the actual sides. But I would be tempted to try 5 first. Again, these are going to be expensive tests to keep doing this, but I would be tempted to try 5. But I think it could be a 6 wick situation. So somewhere I have an apple corer that I use to take when I'm doing wick tests like this. I used to get in and take the wick out, and then I'll replace them with other wicks and we'll test again, because I can't waste all of this. It needs to continue the test. But I cannot find this apple corer, so I'm going to have to go rogue. I dug out the wicks. That's step 1. We're getting there. We're getting there. This is several days later now. This has been burning for many more hours than is really safe. Because I went out and I came back and Lee still got it burning. But I think I've pretty much sussed it. If these were more evenly spaced, then 6 is right. 6 is perfect. This is what I ended up with because of having to dig out those wicks. So again, because I don't want to waste all this wax because it is just a wick test. I'm going to try and reuse this for another pour. This was risky. I put it on hot plate and I wasn't sure whether or not it would crack the glass. I didn't think that it would because, this is all oven proof and stuff. That has to be a candle jar, but still that seems to have done the trick though, to loosen all of the wax. So I'm going to put all of this in a jug, melt it down. I'm pretty pleased with how well I got this cleaned out, actually. I've replaced my 6 wicks pretty much evenly as and when I'm going to make a template for this to be actually perfect. But again, I feel like this is pretty good. And I'm currently melting down all the chunks of wax that were in there before. I know what you're thinking. How's she going to get rid of all the bits? Well, let me tell you how. I have a sieve. I have a very specific wax sieve. Once upon a time, it was a real sieve. And now it's just for this. So I'm gonna pour through the sieve. I also had some random additional like extra bits of wax that I had lying around because I don't care about scent or anything like that. It's just burn and whether or not the wicks will be evenly burning down. I've got quite a situation holding the wicks in place this time, but this could work. And relight this bad boy. And fingers crossed, this will be the final test to make sure that this, I mean, obviously not the final test because I'm going to be testing it with different fragrances and stuff. But I mean, in terms of wicking, fingers crossed this will be like the basis of what I work from. Oh, it's a beautiful sight. It's a beautiful sight. We've got a good melt pool. After a few hours, it's all even. I think I've cracked it. We're very precariously balanced right now on my kitchen door handle, but I have just taken delivery of, hopefully, this is some more jars. So I thought I would do a little unboxing of them with you. Yes, this is what they are. So first of all, they come in their own box, which is great. If you are selling anything that needs a box, you will know how useful it is for the item to already come in a box that you can use to send it out to your customer in. So this is the jar as it comes. I ordered these from London Luxury Candle Supplies. It's so beautiful. Do you know what? That's got a little ding in it. Oh, it's not. It's like a little bit of extra, like a bump of glass where the frosting hasn't taken. I also just downloaded from their website a, what would you call this, a template? Frustratingly, although it says on their website to use either 6 of one particular wick or 4 of a different kind of wick, the template only shows you 4, and I feel like I could have worked out 4. So I've measured and put some stickers on in the 6 places. So I'm going to put the bowl on top of this, and that is going to be my wick template. So I'm going to make, this is going to be my final tester, brand new. I'm using these wicks from Candle Shack. They are CL8s. The CL wicks tend to work the best with our wax. And this size, I'm using 2 of these ones in our Christmas jars at the moment. And I feel like this size works the best for this particular jar. Will I be able to evenly place these? Have I even got this on the thing properly? Yeah. Evenly place these on the template is the real challenge of the day. Pretty confident about it. So this final tester is going to Karen. She's going to test this out, and then we're going to reach out to a few people who said they were interested in being testers for us. And we are going to give them the candles half price, obviously once we know it's a safe situation, because we want to hear from them whether or not this is something that they would be happy with as a full price product, and get some feedback from them without completely losing out on the costs and everything. So we talked about this in a live on our Instagram, and quite a few people messaged. So I've just picked kind of like a handful of those people, and I'm going to make theirs to order. And I'm really excited to hear what they think, whether or not they like the jar, whether they feel it burns as well as the other candles, which I feel really confident about just from the tests I've done. But I'm going to get Karen to burn this one down first, which is so difficult for me because all I want to do is be like, oh, let me send them to people. But that is one of the things about candle making. It's just testing and testing and testing, and it can be painfully slow, but it's so necessary. If you remember the beginning of this video, I think I thought in the back of my mind this was a litre, this jar, and it's not. It's 1.7. So I've measured accordingly, we'll see. I haven't actually done my final how much wax will this jar hold, which I'll do when I finish up with the one that I was testing with of my own. But I have measured this to be 1700 grams of wax and oil combined. So we'll see whether or not that is the correct volume. I don't usually pour from the jug, but it seemed crazy to decant it into the funnel. Oh, that's slightly too much. I think I might do 1600, and I'm going to use the same method I used last time. This, by the way, came with the hot plate that I use that's supposed to be making, it's supposed to be like for crepes. And I used it a little for that. And then eventually I was like, oh my God, that hot plate's going to be fantastic for candle making. And now this has also come in handy. So this I kind of use as like a bridge. And then I can use my regular, it's not perfect, but it's better than anything else I have currently. And I will need to find a more permanent solution for this because it really is not perfect. But yeah, I think this is probably more like 15, 50, 16 to fill the whole jar. Usually I like to hold back a little so I can do a final pour and give it like a really smooth top. So I'll probably note down 1500 with a last pour. I definitely need a better solution for the wicks because with it being such a large jar, they aren't going to stay in place. I need to look up how people do this. Maybe I need to get something custom made to hold these wicks in place while it sets, because it is pretty important where the wicks sit in the jar, more so than the smaller ones. I'm seriously losing all feeling in my legs at the moment. I've just been on the floor sticking stickers in our advent for like 2 hours. So my legs are not quite right. Right, this is exciting. We had a logo made recently. Oh, I love it so much. And I've had it put on these textured paper stickers. And these are going to go on the front of the big candle. Let me put it on the front of this one. We were thinking, I have seen it, it's not an original idea, but we were thinking we would also do like a little wax seal. Oh, this is going to be beautiful. When I said on Instagram about doing these enormous candles and what people would want on the front of them, like I felt like it needed just a little bit of something. Like obviously we want our logo on it, but we don't want it to be overly branded or like big anything. Let me show you. How gorgeous is that? This is, what it is, but oh, it looks really professional. Even though I do say so myself, also something I'm working on. Can you tell that they're like burgundy? Maybe not in this light, maybe more in that light. Festive match pots. Look at that. It is absolutely perfect. I cannot wait for these to be available. So as I said earlier, the beauty of getting them from where we get them from, oh my God, that is so heavy, is they can go straight in the box that they came to us in. I mean, I'll put it in some tissue paper, but it's kind of good to go. I did the same with these. I get these jars from the same place and they came in these boxes. So I've just wrapped them in tissue, put them back in these boxes and put the label on the front. I just think they look really smart. But yeah, oh, I'm so happy with this. Thank you for coming along on the journey of making a giant candle. It was quite an undertaking. I really thought it was going to be simpler than it was, but I suppose this is only the third full proper tester. It's such a lot of wax. It's an expensive experiment, but I think it's going to be really popular because I just don't think that there are a lot of people doing a similar thing. So if you've got any questions, if you are a maker and you've got any questions, let me know. If you're a customer, let me know if you've got any questions. And we've already picked our people who are going to send these to half price, and I will let you know how that goes in a future episode.